You want to put that trumpet up?
Hello, my name is Darryl Robert Shune, and I am here once again with the extraordinary Reverend Betty Tatalajski. She will be the first to say she's not extraordinary. She may not be, except in the way that we all are. But even in the way we all are, what she has been through, what she has experienced, and what she has to say is truly extraordinary. So without further ado, Reverend Betty Tatalajski, founder of the Temple of Universality here in Tucson, Arizona.
Hello, friends. Good to be with you again with the same invitation. If you would like to be healthy, happy, holy, and free, as you were created to be, you've probably tried a lot of things, and I hope you've attained nirvana. But if you haven't, come play with us at the Temple of Universality. You know, I used to hear something about no pain, no gain. Spirit world tells us that's a fallacy, that peaceful things and fun and delight can bring a beautiful world to you. But who knew? A life without fear, regret, pain, and looking forward to a future of the same. You don't have to. I told you last time that we were going to be talking about miracles because the Temple of Universality thrives on, it was built on miracles, it thrives on miracles, and we've learned you must become miracle-minded to have miracles happen for you. My wonderful exit into the land of miracles, a world of miracles, was with the Blessed Mother, and I have been sharing about her. But I have had so many wonderful journeys with Spirit because of this connection with her. I would like, of course, to invite all of you, as she has done. First of all, you might want to join her Blue Army. I have her Blue Army. If you remember, some of you I know went to Catholic school. I did not. I missed that. But I've sort of made up for it. But a lot of you still have your rosaries, and I wonder when's the last time you said it in appreciation or in request. And so I do value these rosaries that I pick up around the world to give away. I just came back, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I guess it was, from the Middle East, a couple of months actually. And I was in Palestine and at the Church of the Nativity. And when I came out, I remembered I must buy rosaries to take to the temple. Each time I go to the Middle East, I buy 2 dozen of the wooden ones, and I buy the ones in Nazareth or Bethlehem because they are both Palestinian cities. I don't know if you know that, but that's never changed from the Bible. They're in Palestine. Now, in 2003, when I started going to the Middle East, there were 80,000 people, Christians, in Bethlehem. Now there are less than 20,000. Good things have not happened to these people, but they're wonderful folks. And so if I'm going to buy rosaries and things, I get them from these people who are working so hard. And anyway, in this last trip, I came out of the church and I was looking for the ones who sell the rosaries in a bag, you know. And so this young fella comes up and I said, I want 2 dozen of your rosaries. And he was stunned. And I thought maybe he didn't speak English. He did. But I gave him the money, which was a very small sum, and I started walking. My friend and I were about 2 blocks away. He had been standing there. He just became like charged, and he ran for 2 blocks, gave me a hug, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Lady, you don't know what a miracle this is." He says, "You're the first person ever bought rosaries from me." Now they have other things they sell, you know, but wasn't incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sells 2 dozen.
Yeah, yes, but you know, they put them in a bag, you
Yeah.
know, and then I bring them and put them in the healing box because they're to be used. But anyway, your world can change. Actually, mine did. You know, I had a rosary hanging on my mirror in my car, and things I thought were pretty bad. You know, I found out one thing. Things are good or bad or in between according to what your perception. Not other people's perception, not what it looks like, but your perception. So I had had a rosary on my mirror since I bought the car, and I was particularly depressed, okay? And it took me 15 minutes to get downtown to the job, from Casas Adobas. And so I said the rosary. It took exactly 15 minutes. Hey, I did it, you know? I've only been hanging there for, a few years. Well, I felt so good all day that night I did it again. I had the best night's sleep. No worry, no problem, no nothing. That my mind makes up, the only enemy you have is your own mind, And so this was lovely. Well, I became addicted real quick. So I would tell all of you friends, my friends out here, if you want an addiction from an affliction that really works without any bad side effects, and I can tell you, the side effects are incredible. From speaking to the Blessed Mother with your rosary, I really would suggest that. No negative side effects, okay? So after I became a part of this spiritualist church and discovered that all of heaven is waiting for each one of us to wake up and sort of get it, that each of us is so important, and each one of us has a band of teachers who come in. That's what I love, is that it is not possible that you come in alone. Isn't that just the most wonderful thing?
The
know?
tragedy, Betty, is this. It is true. The most wonderful thing is none of us come in alone, but the mitigating factor is every one of us comes alone thinking we are.
That we're thinking we're alone. Nobody told us.
Nobody told us.
So many of us, even if you have a big family, you still in here feel like
alone.
An orphan.
Yep.
Because you've got cosmic amnesia, because you forgot that you came in for a special, wonderful purpose, to serve, as we say, serve the Lord God of good, and that you brought in your orders with you. You've forgotten what they are, but nobody comes in without a purpose. And who knew? So actually, that's one of the delightful things of the temple, isn't it? To be able to stand there and these teachers come through for people like me and like you and say, honey, do you remember before you came and all those forms you filled out for that computer in heaven and said, here's what I want to do, because there is a shortage of bodies in the Western world for newborns that would attract a mother and a father of higher consciousness. Do you remember going through all of that training? Now let's get to it. Get to it. And remember, we're all here to make a hero or a heroine out of you. So please do as the beloved Jesus said, ask, what is my purpose? Now, we are so fortunate you and I, and a lot of other people, wish there were more, who are going to be speaking to some of those people in a few hours.
In a few hours.
Okay? We have Reverend Christine Fassetti at the temple, who is one of the best spiritual mediums in the country. And she has been training meditation, prayer, and service for over 20 years for the opportunity to do it, to be able to be a clear channel for all of you, for all of us. And that is why we remind people that everybody has PMS. It's prayer, meditation, and service. That's what it means. There is a beautiful triangle above each head that is prayer, service, and meditation. It is a magical triangle, a triad of love, will, and wisdom. And it is not possible that one person came into life without that triad over the head of the spirit world, and a mission, a ministry, as it were. For some people in cloistered situations of nunneries, I guess that's a word, those people who pray day and night, Spirit says they hold the cradle, they hold the earth in its cradle, from just being heartfelt, using the power of visualization of the mind and seeing the world in its cradle. Now, dear friends, we know that the cradle is wobbly, and so there is more need for those who shut their mouth and pray from their heart for the good of the world. And so maybe you're a lecturer, maybe you're a scientist, maybe you write songs or an artist, but it is one thing for sure: you did not make the cut and come into this world without a talent to give to the world before you come back. I've talked earlier, and I've talked a lot about my blessed connection with a Blessed Mother. And so when she said to me quite a few years ago, "Betty, I have an assignment. Would you take this assignment?" Well, the assignment was to go to several of her churches and pray for her churches. Excuse me. Now, her places are places of miracles. There's a lot of spirit here. All my places, all of my holy sites, I've created with the help of Heaven World for miracles for people. My holy sites are all under attack. She reiterated to me something that Spirit has said a long time: the brighter the light, the greater the dark forces. Now, honey, the dark forces are folks like us that went back into spirit world, having had amnesia the whole time, and doing things that did not serve them well or other folks. And some were downright mean folks, okay? Well, when you go into spirit and go into exactly the level of conscious you are living in, a lot of people have not made an attempt to move into what we call into the light or into lighter places, okay? And so the law of attraction attracts those people who are in that same place And those people are fearful of light because they've lived in dark places so long in their consciousness, okay? The spirit world, our home from whence we came, of infinite levels of consciousness are all available. There is not a place that says you can't go here. That doesn't happen. Within yourself, the electrical spiritual centers, as we say, the 7 holy cities, the 7 candelabra, all of this holy 7, which is a number of spirit, that are the makeup of every man, woman, and child who comes into the earth plane. These candles must be lit, and it is done through prayer, meditation, and service. And so when the Blessed Mother asked me if I would go to some of her holy places and pray for the places, because she knew that what I would do is not just sit in one of the chairs there and say, hey, God, help this place. She knew that I would go and stand into the podium of that church or that sacred site and call in the ascended masters of light to be there. Now, it is good that we can sit here and call in angels from heaven and the ascended masters of light, the great creators of form themselves, but it is nothing compared to going there, standing on site and calling in those angels and those great ascended masters, because Jesus said it correctly, ask and it shall be given. And so I have stood in so many holy places, and I'm waiting for my next assignment. But I'm holding this picture of the Holy Family, the way we refer to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, okay? Because it came in a wonderful way that we would invite you to participate in. Very simple. You see the box there's a box here. I asked Darryl to bring it. Now, would you explain how I got this card and the rest of these cards? It seems like metaphysical magic.
It is metaphysical magic.
But you can do it if you really dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of concentration. These are all cards, index cards, and 3x5s, and they started out blank. All right? Now, I want to say that I experienced this before I even met Reverend Betty Tatalajski and the Temple of Universality. And we had come to Tucson, and a friend of ours had known this person that Reverend Betty Tatalajski has known since 1979. And we were here in 2004 and had gone to a movie. It was a fundraiser. And I'm sitting, and there's 2 empty seats next to me. They're filled. This place was filled. That's what it was. All of a sudden, before the movie starts, the 2 women on the side of me get up and leave. They just left. All right? I didn't think
Who knew there was a plan there?
Who knows a plan? This lady comes and sits down, and she's watching the movie. It's on Fahrenheit 9/11, a Michael Moore movie, and she is muttering. She doesn't like Bush. Usually older women up in the foothills in the money section of Tucson were Bush fans in 2004. This lady was not. All right? And she was, and I turned to Martha, I said, you got to listen to this lady. She's a live wire. All right? So, and we went and we talked with her, and she told us that, that she had been speaking with one of her daughters who was a Bush supporter, and she was ragging on Bush, and her daughter goes, well, Mom, if you're going to talk about our president like that, I'm not going to pay for this phone call. Martha looks at her and she said, your children don't deserve you. we're going to adopt you.
We're going to
We're going to adopt you. All right. She became a very close friend of ours. All right. And the next year, she said, you know, a close friend of mine who I've known for 15 years is coming to Tucson. And we had no idea your church was bringing him. None at all.
No.
None at all. Okay. He's coming to Tucson. And she showed Martha her collection of these. She had some of these.
I have albums.
You have albums of, and now so do we.
Right.
All right?
They're priceless.
They're priceless. Now, I didn't see these, all right? She showed them to Martha, and she told her what they were. And she said this. They start off as blank 3x5 cards, and the medium, Hoyt Robinette, puts these blank 3x5 cards. He gets somebody to do it, and it's in an empty basket like this. It has to be airtight. I mean, light tight. No light can get in it, all right? And in this, he puts in blank 3x5 cards, okay, like this, both sides, and everybody's watching. And then he puts in pens and pencils like this, all right, with the caps on. And he says the only thing is he's gone through each one of these and made sure there's ink in them. Because when they run out of ink, then he puts them away and replaces it.
Yeah.
All right?
Leaves the caps on. They absorb the...
And then he puts the lid on. And you're all watching. All right? There's around 12 of us in the room, and we're watching. And then what he does, he takes one of these, and we've taken one of these cards, and he has us write the names of 5 people who are in spirit. Like, you know, if your parents have passed away, or you can write Abraham Lincoln, you can write Moses on anybody.
All of those people are on mine.
Exactly. All right. Once you figured out the door was open,
absolutely,
you started knocking on it. All right. So you write 5, and then in this thing you write one question right in the middle. All right. And then you sign your name at the bottom. You fold up the piece of paper and you put it in another basket. All right. So. So this basket is sitting there set aside. We've all seen the blank cards. They came out of a new 3x5 envelope from Walmart or somewhere. You know, we saw the inks, and he showed us. He dumped it upside down. Nothing else was in it, and he put the lid on it.
We call this is cooking now.
It's cooking, all right? It's cooking, all right? It's no light can get in it. That's the prerequisite, okay? Because spirit can't work with light, all right? It's easier in the dark. So it's not a secrecy thing. It's just vibration, all right? So what happens is the rest of us are sitting there. We put our little piece of paper in this basket, and Reverend Hoyt Robinette tapes up his eyes, all right, and puts a blindfold over himself because he doesn't want any light getting in when he's in this state. It helps him concentrate.
It's all about electricity.
It's all about electricity. So then what he does is we're sitting there waiting, and this basket is sitting there right in front of us. And he's up there in front of us with his, eyes taped shut, and this mask on. And then he starts taking these cards that we've written our questions on and the names, and he starts calling out names that some of us have written on those cards. And when you hear let's say, what my father's name is Hamilton, all right? So it's an uncommon name. So when he goes Hamilton, I go, that's me. I'm here, all right? Because he needs to hear my sound.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What he is doing, he's a classic medium, though he can do most things that most mediums can't do. He's highly trained.
The best.
The best. Sat there in meditation for years to hone this ability, all right? And what happens is when he says Hamilton, I know my father is there with him. He's here. And he starts talking.
And if he's here, Mom's here.
The whole family's here. And they start calling out names, all right? And then you listen, and then he tells you what they say the answer to your question is. And then they go on, and he calls other names, other people. So by the end of 45 minutes, everybody's gotten their name called. Everybody's gotten their question answered. At the end of 45 minutes, he takes off his blindfold, takes that off, takes off the lid to this basket.
And if you are Jan Robertson,
yes,
you have
a card with names written on it, folks.
And this is from Fatima, Portugal.